The sound of Amtrak trains could soon be coming back to Central Ohio for the first time in nearly 50 years. That's after the U.S. Department of Transportation announced plans late last year to potentially bring passenger rail back. Now, if it's approved, it would be at least a decade before the first trains roll through Columbus. In a story you'll only see here on 10 TV, Colin Dorsey traveled 300 miles to a town in Illinois to learn what passenger rail service has done for the state and what it could do for Central Ohio.
Local leadership and desire, and then national funding is what's going to make service happen in Ohio.
This was the last train to pull out of Columbus's old Union Station in 1977. The wrecking ball heralding the beginning of the end for passenger rail in Columbus. Service would fully end in 1979. Decades later, Columbus is the largest American city without a single passenger train.
The 1970s saw a lot of communities lose their passenger rail service, but Illinois went the opposite direction, adding state-sponsored routes, such as the Lincoln service that stops here in Bloomington Normal.
In Illinois, litigation took place and lots of noise took place when Amtrak service started in '71 from places that were left off the list.
Amtrak's Mark Magliari says Illinois was all aboard when Amtrak rolled onto the scene.
They went to their legislature and said, there's a program. Let's get into that program.
In the early days, states could chip in about 15% of the total cost to add service and grow it. And that's what Illinois did. Now, Bloomington Normal, two neighboring cities with a combined population of around 135,000 people, sees 10 passenger trains per day.
Run frequent trains, run them reliably, run them on schedules that people will find attractive, and we'll have business. That's what happens here. What happens all sorts of places around the country. It can happen in Ohio, too.
A lot of times we'll just do a up and back.
Connie Ledbetter works remotely, but sometimes she has to make a trip to the Chicago office. The train allows her to get work done and avoid the drive.
Time, lots of time. I'm actually going to be able to sit down, get a little bit of work done, log a couple hours, and then get up there, and I don't have the stress.
Normal, Illinois Mayor Koos is on the Amtrak Board of Directors. He says it's people like Ledbetter that they're seeing more and more.
With hybrid working going on, there are people that are living here. Their office may be in Chicago, but it's so much more affordable to live here than it is in Chicago, and it's a great community anyway. So we see a lot of use.
The city of Normal saw the business opportunity that came along with the ridership demand from Illinois State University, Illinois Wesleyan, and headquarters such as State Farm Insurance. So when they built their new train station, they put it right downtown. So when passengers get off the train, this is the first thing they step into.
You can tell anytime, like after a holiday or something or a long weekend here, you just get an influx of kids coming from the station. And I'm like, hi, welcome back.
Clementine Hess runs a record store in downtown. Several daily trains bring in new and repeat customers as they make their way into downtown from the station.
It's so important, especially if you don't have a car or access to a car. That's how I get to most shows in Chicago, is just taking Amtrak. It cuts out traffic, and it's honestly just a little bit easier.
Back here in Ohio, passenger rail has a bit of an uphill battle. Governor Mike DeWine's predecessor, Governor John Kasich, derailed any progress on rail. DeWine is open to the idea, but an upcoming feasibility study needs to show that it's worth the investment.
Look, I like trains. I hope that we could have good passenger service in the state of Ohio, but it's got to make sense economically. And no one's going to ride a train unless it's, approximates at least the time that it takes in regard to traveling by car.
Magliari says Ohio is in a good spot right now. The study will look at the proposed Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, and Dayton route and give the state a better picture of what needs done.
When the study results come in, the state of Ohio will have actionable information. Here's about what the service would look like. Here's about what the schedules would look like. Here's about what it will cost.
All right, that was 10 TV's Colin Dorsey reporting. We've been asking you all day if you would ride a train to other Ohio cities. And so far, many of you saying yes. Here are a few of your responses. This one here. Yes, I would love to take Amtrak train. I have a fear of flying. My husband and I would go on more vacations if that were the case. Yes, I would definitely ride the train to Cincinnati or Cleveland or beyond. We'd like to hear from you. If you haven't weighed in yet, you still have time. Would you ride a train to other cities here in Ohio? Text us your answer to that number on your screen, 614-460-3345.